my mental framework as a trader, this is just the mindset that I have and the mindset and the framework that I use to consistently succeed and stay consistent in the way I make decisions and in the way I look at the market and the way I respond to things and treat myself in trading. So, my job as a trader is to identify where buyers and sellers are positioned in the market and join them for a ride. So I kind of used like an analogy when I was writing this, like, it's kind of like hopping on a train, really, or something like that. But it's join them for a ride, and there's always a small window to join the ride once it's gotten started. So that small window is where I decided to take my entry. And then I identify buyers and sellers using three things. I use supply and demand, support and resistance, and volume and price action. I taught you all of those things already. I didn't go as deep into supply and demand because there's a way that is graphically represented on the chart other than the concept of supply and demand. I mean, don't get me wrong, support and resistance, volume and price action, they all, like, supply and demand is the macro concept, and these are the little micro concepts inside of it that are like the basic things that will allow you to profit and stuff like that and will allow you to make good decisions. I just take it a step further with supply and demand, and I'll have a whole other course on that. But it's just not going to be in this one because this is just so you can get used to the markets, and I don't want to overwhelm you with a whole bunch of different things to learn. And these are just my personal choice of tools that I use to determine these positions in the market. These tools are proven to work, and none are stronger than the other. It takes multiple tools to find out where the positions are, and then it's up to me to decide whether it's worth to build a position or not, whether it's worth risking my money or not. And that's what technical analysis and trading is at its core. That's it. It's nothing harder than that. And then these positions are tricky to find, and they're ultimately hard to join. And that's why it's important for you as a trader to locate and figure out the potential reward of where you entering at that place will take you and what the risk is, where the trade will be invalidated. Just having good management and being in control of what you can as much as you can. And then looking at the structure of the market, looking at supply and demand, looking at all the tools that I taught you, that's what you're going to have to use to deconstruct and come up with a plan for yourself so you can find these positions to take good trades. If it's a favorable area and it validates, reaches your target, you get out. Other than that, it's your job to just be patient and observant and see when the time has come off to jump off and exit the trade. Meaning that, follow your plan until new information comes in to change the actions that you're taking. So again, like how I talked about something that's going to invalidate my trade. If I'm long and I'm in profit and I'm starting to see signs of sellers coming in, I'm starting to see supply, or we reach an area of resistance or supply, even if I say, all right, I think based off my analysis, the trade could go up here or down here. If I see information that invalidates that or starts to contest that or is like, starts to challenge that, I should pivot and I should get out and just protect what I have. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing, protecting what you have. And then again, you have to think of it as a whole structure, not just in the moment candles. Don't get caught up in like what's happening in the moment. Keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, and look at everything. Using your tools, what is the market doing, and how do you take advantage? That's our job, figuring out how we're going to capitalize and take advantage of the markets, of the action, of the mass psychology of humans trading in the stock market with you. Every single trade taken in the market is essentially a thesis on whether positions are being built there or not, and you're rewarded with either a profit or a loss. Profit or the loss, whatever you do or whatever you make on the trade, you should see that as a reward of your effort or feedback of your effort, because every single trade is a thesis. You're never going to be 100% right or 100% wrong. Based off of the information, based off of the analysis that you do, you have an idea, and you put that idea to the test by executing, by entering the trade, by triggering your stop loss, all of those things. And that's why I talked about how trading is a science and it's an art, because you have to be creative in the way that you look at the market, but you have to be systemized and you have to track so many different data. And again, it's like a thesis or a hypothesis um, on what's actually happening and how you plan to capitalize. So every trade under this framework needs to have sufficient evidence to support this thesis. And otherwise, if it doesn't have sufficient evidence, it's not a good thesis. And bad empty theses or thesi, I don't know, they're never right. They're never proven to be right, or there's never, you get the point. And then refinement is important. Everything you should do should be focused on refining yourself as an individual and refining yourself as a trader. And I love saying this, trading is an endeavor that's both creative and scientific. The more data that you have, the more statistics you track, the more you understand, the better you will be as a trader. The more profitable and correct you will be. The more time you spend sharpening, the sharper you will be, the sharper you are. And in this framework, that means emotion and feeling really don't have any place. They play no part. It's scientific because of the math, the variable, patterns, data, structure, and environment. And it's creative because of the tools that we use to understand the science and turn it into something more. To turn it into a thesis and ultimately a process that creates profit. It's creative because there's no one way to interpret that same kind of data. And the thing about creativity is that it doesn't matter how you prepare for the market. It doesn't matter how you prepare or what you do. Everything is uncertain and anything can have a potential of working or not working. The only point of risk management is to do two things. Keep you in the game and keep your emotions out of the game so you can make good decisions and stay alive. And then one very, very important rule as a trader that I will always stand on: if you have profit on the trade, never let that trade become a red trade. The worst thing you can do as a trader is make a profit become a loss. It's just dumb, Like, if you're up 10-15% on a trade, there's no reason why you should be taking a loss on that. If you're up 10-15% on an option, and then it goes against you, and now you're negative 15%, that means you just sat through a drawdown of 30%. That's crazy. There's so many different ways that you could protect your risk and that you will be able to pivot and go around that kind of scenario. But this is just something I want you to think about. Never, ever, ever let this happen. Because it's one thing that I can definitely tell you is going to affect your psychology, and it's going to affect the way that you feel about yourself as a trader. And you're going to be like, yo, what the fuck am I doing? It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So just don't let it happen. That's it. That's all I can say. And then after that, now I'm going to show you some real trade examples. And I'm going to break them down with the volume and price action, with, the different candlesticks and everything. These are all screenshots and stuff. And I'm going to also go into some old trade recordings, or I might just link some of my old YouTube videos and put them in the course. That way you can, watch some of my reflections and stuff like that on trades that I took. But so, you get everything, and let's just hop into the real trade examples now.